Welcome back to the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Stern, coming to you live from Greensboro, North Carolina. It's local time out here, 5:33 out on the West Coast. A lot to talk about in the world of sports. College football's going on tonight. You have some pretty good matchups right now. UNC Pitt in the ACC. UNC's up 20-3 at the half. You can watch that on ESPN. And over on Fox Sports 1, TCU up 17-0 in West Virginia. They're not out of the water yet for me, just because West Virginia, while this is a team that has struggled a lot recently, they're still a team that's given TCU fits since entering the Big 12 a couple years ago. So again, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Last week, my last episode, I've got the most hits I've ever had, which for me, that's a lot. It's really exciting. It says that a lot's improving, and in the next maybe week or two, I'm gonna have Tom back on the Tom Crane back. If you don't remember from a podcast that we tried to do back in April in Chicago, we tried to do a Skype. To try to do it back and forth on Skype while he was in Pennsylvania, and it didn't work out necessarily. But now, thank you to Spreaker Radio, they have finally added the Skype feature. So now I'll be able to do this with Tom moving forward. So I'm pretty excited to get that started. And it's probably going to be coming up in the next week or two, so stay tuned for that. And again, I mentioned again iTunes. It should be up in the next week or so. For me, I just needed time to go ahead and do that. I've just been so busy on the road this week. This week has just been ridiculous. I just flew up from Albany, Georgia this morning. I barely got any sleep, to be honest with you. I maybe slept for maybe 30 minutes in the hotel, and then an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours tops, and up on the plane rides over from Albany to Atlanta, and then from Atlanta to Greensboro. Pretty small airports, if you ask me. But again, let's go ahead and talk about sports, because let's be honest, that's not many people want to hear about that. So on the NBA on the plate for this week, NBA started this week. A lot of good games. I'll give you my overall predictions of what to expect from the season. I think that obviously you have your favorites. You have the Cavaliers. You have Golden State, who's again looked really good opening night, and they play tonight against the Rockets when you can catch that 10:30 Eastern on TNT. The Spurs, although they lost last night, again, it's going to take some time for them to get accustomed to LaMarcus Aldridge, who moved over from Portland, and some teams that, again, lost a lot of key pieces like Portland. LA didn't know what to expect of them. Minnesota, a very young roster there. I'll give you some teams, again, what to expect, my favorites to win it all, and some teams that could make the playoffs if. So it'll be, again, just a little overview there. NFL, of course, there are a lot of good games on this weekend, so I'm going to give you those predictions of who the undefeateds are more than likely to go down, especially Green Bay, Denver. One of those teams has to go down, assuming that and doesn't end in a tie. And then, of course, for college football, the Halloween spooky. It's on Saturday? I think. Yeah, Halloween's on Saturday. So just to kind of give you 3 matchups that, for me, just keeping it Halloween themed, kind of spooked me a little bit in terms of ranked opponents that should go in and win. But again, for me, it's October. And as we've seen so far in October, nothing has really gone according to plan. Unless you're maybe Ohio State, which again, I've always said that everything will figure itself out. It's funny at the beginning of the season, at the end of September, when you maybe have 10, 12 undefeated teams, and everyone's like, well, what are we going to do to select teams in the Final Four? It always somehow works itself out. That's just the nature of college football. Because there's no way 12 teams are going to go in to the bowl season undefeated. That's just not possible. Again, maybe 2, 3 at best. And especially in this day and age, when you're looking looking at the college football playoff, and again, unless you're the Big 12, you actually really schedule tough opponents. Not a blast to the Big 12. It's just that they haven't really gone on and done that. I mean, granted, they have had some tough opponents. TCU had Minnesota to open the season. Baylor's had some interesting opponents. But realistically, none of those matchups are as hard as, what Alabama schedules to start the season, what Wisconsin starts for the season. Teams in the Pac-12, they always schedule some pretty tough opponents first couple weeks out. And then my final topic would be on two players in the NFL that, again, I feel that, in my opinion, NFL players are entitled. Again, when you make it to a league such as the NFL, it is an exclusive club. Only the best of the best get there. I don't care who you are. If you're there, that means you have some type of unique talent that allows you to get to that level. But for Sammy Watkins and Ryan Mallett, these are two players that, again, have all the potential in the world, no question. But when your actions off the field are louder than your production on the field, that's a problem. And especially, again, in this day and age where things can be magnified like that on social media, and especially when you use social media for any outlash, as well in the case of Sammy Watkins, the internet will bite back. And again, it's because now social media, everyone has a voice. And everyone, whether you like it or not, is entitled to their own opinion. And the exception, again, professional athletes need to understand that they are professional in every aspect. It's not just, I have to, be productive on the football field. It's also being a productive person off the field and not putting yourself in situations where you're going to get blasted later on. And when your work ethic gets challenged on, in the case of Ryan Mallett, that's a really, really big issue. So again, let's get started with some NBA talk. NFL will be in my second block, just because, again, we usually do that every single week. I'm not saying I'm getting bored of it, because I love NFL, just like everybody else. But NBA is up and running. So let's get started with that. Just to go over some scores right now, Indiana-Memphis right now is in the third quarter, 63-57. Atlanta-New York, first quarter, almost ended the first. Atlanta up 8. And then on tonight, at 10:30 Eastern on TNT, you have Dallas and the LA Clippers. Some thoughts from early. So for what I like the fact that everyone, for the most part, again, is healthy, exception of Kyrie Irving from Cleveland. I like that Kevin Durant's back. I like that, again, Tim Duncan and the Spurs are back. It seems that a lot of people like the Spurs, including myself, to get to the Western Conference. I think Cleveland has a really easy road. Granted, again, Chicago proved that they're evolving under new head coach Fred Hoiberg from a defensive team to an offensive team. But again, when it comes down to it late, you need stops defensively, and this team has been drilled into playing the best defense possible when playing under Tom Thibodeau. And it showed opening night that the Bulls, again, while they're trying to transition from a defensive team to an offensive team, again, defense still wins championships. And again, Derrick Rose hasn't played the best so far, and I don't know what to expect of him, to be honest with you. Again, I think if he could produce 19, 20 points a night on average. Jimmy Butler can carry his team. Mirotic is going to be phenomenal. I think Pau Gasol probably needs to rest just because he's played so much internationally over the summer, and I think that's probably going to hinder him early on in the season. But I feel like once he gets some rest, this Chicago Bulls team is a team that I like to make it to the finals along with Cleveland. So I'm just going to throw on a track here, and I'm just going to give you my picks for coming out of the East, coming out of the West, the team that will make the playoffs if, again, this is a team that you may not think this team can make the playoffs, but if everything goes right, this is the team that I like. From the East and then West, and then finally my NBA champion. So, without further ado, if I can find the song that I really want to play, if it'll come up, I'm not sure if it will. And give it a second. And here we go. Of course, you know that song. Skilo, I wish it was a ball. I wish it. Okay, that's why I don't rap. Anyway, so for the NBA this season, the team that, of course, I expect to get out of the East is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Again, they lost to the Chicago Bulls, but overall, when you have the best player on the planet in LeBron James, what else do you expect? I think that they are the overwhelming favorite. Chicago, again, they are a team that looks really good. The team from the East that I like, if everything goes right, to come out of the East is Toronto. Again, they are a team, for me anyway, there's a lot of scoring talent. When you have Valanciunas, DeMar DeRozan's, again, starting to emerge into an all-star and potentially all-NBA player. And when you have Kyle Lowry at the point, I really like what they have there. That quote-unquote big three, I think, can be enough for Toronto to get you through. They have a lot of offensive power, and then they can really defend each of the positions. And again, for me, they have a lot of depth. I also, again, if assuming everything goes right, I can also see the Washington Wizards. Again, Bradley Beal, John Wall, would arguably the best backcourt in the NBA. That would be great. The team that would has to, for everything that didn't go right to make the playoffs. Again, and it's in an Eastern Conference. The Orlando Magic. They have a lot of young talent, but I think assuming that talent develops really, really quickly, I could see them making the playoffs this year. It's an Eastern Conference that when you get down to the 7 and 8 seed, it's practically irrelevant because they'll get swept by Cleveland or Chicago, but it's still nice to talk about. Moving over to the West, again, the team that I expect to come out of the West, San Antonio. At the end of the day, I think San Antonio is going for one more final run here. Again, they did lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's going to be, again, whoever comes out of the West, I expect to win the NBA championship and just blow out Cleveland in 5 games. But again, this Western Conference is going to be incredibly full of depth, especially, again, I thought the Portland Trailblazers were going to have a little bit of a down year, especially after losing 4 of their 5 starters, but man, CJ McCollum last night going up for 37 points, pretty impressive if you ask me. Lillard's in the post-game interview said, hey, I told you that he's explosive, and we clearly saw that. Assuming McCollum, again, Portland's my team that assuming everything goes right for them, they can make the playoffs. Just because, again, they were the team that was supposed to drop out of the 8. Because for me, you have Dallas, you have LA, you have Golden State, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Houston. So you have a lot of teams there. And again, another team that you could see making the playoffs, assuming everything goes right, and you saw it last night, is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Kevin Garnett in his arguably final year in the NBA, combined with the talent of a young talent of Ricky Rubio, Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins.